Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. Today's presentation, Brazil's Pantanal, a photographer's wildlife paradise, is brought to you by NatHab expedition leader Fernando Romo. Fernando has been leading conservation-focused travel expeditions for over 24 years, beginning his career right after earning his marine biology degree by leading whale-watching tours in the biodiverse waters of Banderas Bay near Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. He's become an expert in wildlife expeditions, specializing in the annual monarch butterfly migration in the Mexican highlands, as well as birding and nature tours in Patagonia, Galapagos Islands, and Panama. As a passionate birder and wildlife photographer for over 2 decades, Fernando combines his marine biology background with extensive field experience to guide travelers of all levels through some of the world's most remarkable ecosystems. Fernando, it's great to see you. I'm glad you're back here on Daily Dose. The show is yours. Take it away.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, everyone, to take the time to be here today. And well, as Rob mentioned, my name is Fernando Romo. I've been a NatHab expedition leader for more than 20 years, and I guide some of the programs of natural habitat like the Kingdom of the Monarch Butterflies, the Wilderness Patagonia, and just recently I did a Galapagos Island photo expedition. My main goal, as Rob mentioned before, my main goal as a photo expedition leader is always been to create awareness for wildlife conservation by showing how amazing wildlife is through photography. My background is in science, as Rob mentioned before as well. I am marine biologist. I specialize in marine mammals, especially on the area of Puerto Vallarta. I did my research and thesis out of my school in marine biology in humpback whales population. When they come every winter here to Banderas Bay, Puerto Vallarta, where I live, they had their babies, and I was doing photo identification of the tails or the flukes of the whales. This is actually how I became into photography through science, through getting this information from the whales. So this is the trigger of my photography passion. So my goal for this webinar is to share my experience in Pantanal, how amazing this place is, some cool facts about wildlife that I saw, and some of the photos that I was able to get into this trip, that I hope you like some of the photos and, some of the information I have as well. So first of all, where is Pantanal? So Pantanal is geographically located in the heart of South America, in the countries of Brazil, Paraguay, and Bolivia, being the Brazilian part with the largest extension of the Pantanal, with 62% of this ecosystem located in Brazil, following by Bolivia with 20% and Paraguay with 18% only. But this is a big ecosystem. Just so you have an idea how big this place is. Pantanal, if you combine the equivalent of countries like Belgium, Switzerland, Portugal, and Holland, that is the size of El Pantanal altogether. So this is a really large ecosystem. And a little bit of the background, in September of 1981, the Pantanal was declared as a national park and a protected area for a category class 2. The main goals of the park is always been the preservation of this natural ecosystem, research, environmental education, and ecotourism, or conservation travel, as we like to say it nowadays. So something also relevant of El Pantanal is Pantanal was declared as under the category of Ramsar site, RIMSIR, under the Convention of 1993. What are Ramsar sites are? Well, Ramsar sites are wetlands ecosystems with worldwide international importance conservation category. This is one of the highest conservation categories worldwide for these for these kind of sites. And of course, Pantanal, as being the largest of all, they have a very they do a lot of conservation efforts for this place and the wildlife that lives here. So what kind of ecosystems can we can find here? Well, the ecosystems in Pantanal is a mix of all of this. We have a lot, hundreds of different ecosystems and habitats, such as savannas, tropical forests, wetlands, grasslands, woodlands, marshes, semi-deciduous forests. All these large extension of ecosystems and the micro ecosystems created by these big ones, is one of the most diverse planets of wildlife in the more of the most of diverse ecosystems in the planet. All these habitats are characterized by an extreme cycle of rains that goes from March to November, and they create a vast aquatic landscape. And as you know, water brings life. So if it has a lot of water, you bring a lot of life into this ecosystem. So this dynamic of water and land sustain an amazing biodiversity, housing more than 600 species of birds. Just in this area that has been reported, more than 600 species of birds, more than 300 species of fish, around 160 species of mammals. You know, they're really cool for mammals. Almost 100 different types of reptiles, 53 different types of amphibians, and over 3,500 species of plants just in this area, okay? So if we put all these numbers together, we're talking over 5,000 different species of flora and fauna in this region, which make it like a super mega diverse habitat. All these species are completely adapted to flood and drought seasons, migrating in and out of the flooded areas in their search of food and nesting sites. If you see this photo here, it looks like a mosaics of habitats, you know, so you can find, if you move like 10 minutes from one place to the other, you find a different habitat and different species and different adaptations all over around. It's a magnificent place. So Pantanal is the largest wetlands worldwide. It's the largest tropical wetlands worldwide. It's one of the largest perennial flood plains in the planet and one of the Brazilian richest ecosystems. Around 85% of its native vegetation remains covered and intact, thanks to the conservation efforts to protect this unique ecosystem. So this is just an intro about El Pantanal, you know, more or less the ecosystems and a little bit of the history and the background of this place. The next slides that I'm going to show you is the wildlife we were able to see and some photos, okay? So first of all, I have to begin with the jaguars. The jaguars, I just have to say that this trip, I was waiting to do it for a long time, more than 15 years waiting to this to happen. It was until this last October that I was able to do it, because one reason or the other, I didn't have the time or something. But every person I mentioned, my friends from Brazil, expedition leaders from Brazil, they told me, if you want to see jaguars, you have to go to Brazil, to Brazil, to Brazil. And I couldn't wait more time, and I went to Brazil. I want to share this, and I don't want to set high expectations, okay? But I saw around 12 different jaguars in this trip. So this is something that is really cool. This is the largest South America cat and the third largest worldwide. It's only behind tigers and lions. Jaguars have a wide distribution from the southwestern United States all the way to North Argentina. So the distribution is pretty wide, but they're hard to find in other areas, to be honest, according to the information I have. So this is the place to see jaguars. Its major population are found at the Amazon, on the Amazon basins, and they prefer a tropical rainforest, swamps, and wetlands. So at this place, jaguars, they have adapted to a semi-aquatic lifestyle. They swim across rivers. There was literally some days that we were on the boat and there was a jaguar crossing from one side to the other to the river. So it was fabulous to see this kind of aquatic behavior. Unlike in other parts of the world where sightings are rare, here you might watch jaguars for extended period of times. They stalk, they hunt, they even interact socially here, which is extremely rare to see in general for wildcats like this, like these kind of wildcats. And I just want to show you this photo, how close we were from this jaguar. You can see on the lower right side, there's somebody's head. And I took this photo just to show how close sometimes you can be. And they're so tame. They don't care about people around them, or they just crossing between the boats in the water. They really, really, really are really used to the people's presence in this place. And well, it's just like a great place to photograph jaguars, the greatest place to get these kind of images worldwide. So this is a video, so I hope that you like it. Jaguars are ambush predators that use patience, camouflage, and a very unique, powerful bite to hunt. They normally do it often by the water. So, well, on this video, I want to show you how secretive, how slowly they move when they're hunting. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get anything. By the time he got to the nearby the water, the prey was already gone. But their hunting success rate is as low as 5%. So there, because of these, there's very few chances to see them with a prey, but the chances to see them hunting are really high. High for a cat. Okay, so this is one of the photos I got of one of these jaguars who was hidden on the grass for a long time. We were just waiting, patiently there until he was able to start hunting, because he spots something on the water like a crocodile or something. He just jumped to the water, making this big splash. I love this photo because it shows a lot of action into these jaguars here. Of course, I didn't take the video, but I get this really cool shot. And well, again, this water wasn't success on his prey, but he tried multiple times, and I was able to capture this photo. So what I said, there's a lot of chances to get these photos. If you have a nice weather, good light, you might be able to get away with some of these images, these action images. So check the size of those jaws. So jaguars bite force can reach as high as 1,500 pounds per square inch. So this cat has the strongest jaws muscles of all the big cats, even doubling the tiger bite by 2 times, sorry. And of course, tigers are the largest of all these big cats, but jaguars are the strongest of all of them. So these jaguar jaws are so powerful that allows them to pierce turtle shells. And actually, because of these, they can employ a very effective killing method that bites directly through the skull of the mammals or the caimans, which is their food that they have in this area, and they go between the ears. So this bite gets all the way into the brain of their prey and kill them instantly. So this is something really, really amazing. You don't want to be nearby these guys, of course, but this is just amazing how powerful they are. So during our trips, we were able to see a jaguar that actually hunt a caiman. They're more likely to get weak and unhealthy individuals on top, uh, talking about the caimans. This ensures the caiman populations are healthier and less susceptible to decline. Eating caimans also control the food caimans eat. Adult male caimans, they cannibalize younger caimans at the end of the dry season. So basically, it is important jaguars control the adult caiman's population, to let the caiman population get more healthy. So this This was, of course, kind of on top of the five main things I really enjoyed to see. This jaguar was actively feeding on this dead caiman. But something that was really cool to see, and this is hard. This is hard. The interaction between jaguars. They're normally solitary and territorial by nature. So interactions are rare to see in the wild. Although in the Pantanal, individual territories sometimes overlap, which is what it happens here. They require large territories to survive and find enough prey. And several studies have shown that large carnivores play a vital role in regulating other species populations. So this influenced their distribution across the landscape. And luckily for me, I was able to get a video that I'm going to show you now. So this interaction that I was able to film occurred apparently in between two females for overlapping on their territories. It wasn't a very aggressive fight and didn't last for a long time, but this is because they're more like females. They were kind of a young females probably. If this will happen with males, males are normally more territorial and their fights can be more aggressive because, of course, a male territory, a bigger territory that the males have, the more chances they will have to a female accessing their territory and be able to breed. So in this case, I guess there were two females, and it was a short period of fight, but it was really cool to watch. I feel very lucky to be able to observe this behavior. So let me just move on from jaguars because there was a lot of wildlife that we were able to see. So capybaras, they are literally, I shouldn't say this probably, but they were literally everywhere. The hotels we were staying, they have capybaras on the gardens. They were in the water. They were resting outside your room sometimes. So they're kind of easy to see in this area. So capybaras are found in mainly forests and wetlands, all the way from Pantanal to Argentina. So the distribution is mainly in all South America. They can grow about 4.3 feet and they weigh up all the way to 74 pounds. Capybaras have webbed feet like frogs and dogs, so they can actually swim much better. And other adaptations they have, as you can see in this photo, their eyes, ears, and nostrils are located on the top of their heads, allow them to remain underwater, submerged for longer period of times, or just put a head on the surface. It is a highly social species and can be found in groups as large as 100 individuals, but they usually move around in groups of 10 or 20. When they have babies, the group is much bigger, of course, because the babies, and they move all together to protect these younglings or these babies from predators like jaguars, of course. When capybaras feed, this is something really cool I really want to show you because we were doing like a kayak adventure and we saw these capybaras feeding on the plants here. And when this was happening, one of the capybaras was disturbing insects on the vegetation. So this wattle jacana, which I love this photo, this wattle jacana, they took advantage of this by all these insects landing on the capybara's head. So the wattle jacana, it was just there waiting to get these insects. That was really cool to watch. On other activities we did, it was day and night safaris looking for wildlife. So we were able to observe other kind of wildlife like these brocket deer. These are an elusive and a small South American deer. They're almost half the size of a white-tailed deer. If that, to give you a little bit an idea how small they are. They have a really, really short antlers, and they are only the males have, and they are a very secretive forest life. They're not easy to see. They go away when they hear people or cars approaching. So it was a lucky photo to get. Well, another cool mammal we observed, it was the crab-eating fox. that is also known as a forest dog. This is a medium-sized canid endemic to central part of South America. Unlike other South American foxes, they're not related to true foxes. They have the name fox, but they're in a different family than foxes. This was a really cute, really cute monkey that we were able to observe. This is the black-tailed marmoset. It's a species of a New World monkey from Central to South America. They are very tiny monkeys. They are, I don't know, half the size of a capuchin monkey or even smaller than that. They are known for their cooperative family life. Their diet consists on tree sap, bird eggs, fruits, insects, and small vertebrates. We saw just one of these individuals. It was not a big family. There were some around, but just one of them, it was really hanging out a little bit. So we were able to see just a little bit. The photo is not the best photo, but I really like, all the composition of this guy looking at us. Well, another really lucky sighting that we have is this other cat. This is a jaguarundis. Jaguarundi are unique whistle-like wildcats. They're known for being diurnal. They have a wide range of vocalizations, up to 13 different sounds. They have an excellent climbing and swimming skills. The jaguarundis are mainly solitary. They hunt small prey like rodents, like birds, and they are surprisingly related to pumas and cheetahs. They're not related to jaguars. So even the name is jaguarundi. It sounds like a jaguar, but they're not related to jaguars. Their range are from southern Texas all the way down to South America. So it's a really extended range. And even with this distribution and diversity of habitats they can live in, they're really hard to see. I tell you, this is the first time, because we have these wildcats in Puerto Vallarta, where I live. I do a lot of trips, daytime, nighttime, looking for birds at night or looking for mammals at night. This is the first time I've seen one of these guys. So he actually was looking at us. He sat for a little bit. I was able to get this only photo, and suddenly he just get bored of us and go away. I feel very lucky to see this guy, because I know how hard they are to see. Well, another really funny, not funny, I shouldn't say funny, another really amazing encounter that I have, it was these giant river otters. These are the world's largest otters, living in social family groups in the Amazon, and they're known for their unique throat patches. You can tell one individual from the other by photographing this part of their throat. They're expert fishing, and they are known as the wolves of the wetlands. There are water apex predators. They are the largest member of the weasel family, as I mentioned before. And different from other weasels, these giant otters are very social. They live in groups of 5 to 10 individuals. They work together for hunting purposes, and they're generally peaceful. However, they fight for territory with other groups, with other river otters groups. So they can be really aggressive between groups, and even jaguars don't mess with them. If you can see a group of giant otters, they spend a lot of time looking on the surface. They do like a spy hope, just looking for jaguars on their territory. They are really aggressive to jaguars. So jaguars, when they get caught by these otters, they just rather go away, because it's a really bad fight in both ways, in both directions. So something really cool to see is these giant otters feeding. Okay, they use their speed, their sharp teeth, and strong jaws to catch their underwater prey. After they catch something, they bring them into the shore out of the water, they bring them into the shore, or in this case, as you can see, in a little piece of trunk above the water, and they just feed by their own. They hunt together, but once they get something, they don't share that. They don't share that prey, which is, it's kind of cool to observe the feeding behavior. The video is not in the best quality, but I really love this photo. Their diet consists almost exclusively on fish, like piranhas and catfish, but they might also eat crabs, turtles, snakes, and even small caimans. So they are really, really top predator in these waters of El Pantanal. So another monkeys we were able to observe is these capuchin monkeys. They are super smart, as you probably already know. They're famous for using tools to crack nuts. They create insect repellent by crushing millipedes on themselves, and they actually develop a complex social lives, including traditions like finger poking to reinforce their bonds. It's really fun. They're really fun to watch. They move through the canopy. Sometimes they come down to look for some food source, and we were able to get these kind of photos of them. So they are known for their agility to move through the forest, their diverse diets, and strong family ties, often living in groups and display advanced problem-solving skills that mimic humans. Their diet is very diverse from fruits. The diet is very diverse from fruits, seeds, nuts, flowers, insects to small vertebrates, and they often taste ripeness or freshness of their meals by smell or touch. They really know what they want, and they want to make sure that it's fresh and it's ripe enough to they eat it. So in South America, we can find this kind of caiman. It's called jacaré caiman. And these are South American native crocodile found on the wetlands of Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, and Paraguay. So they are known for their unique low-frequency mating calls that they made using their body vibrations. If you ever seen crocodiles, when they mate, the males are on the surface, and these vibrations move the water like sprinkles of the water, and this is how do they attract females. So they're also known for their impressive comeback on their population numbers after being hunted for decades by humans for their meat and skin almost to extinction. They come back, and now that there's a protected area, their comeback of these caimans, it was so rapid, and they reach nowadays up to 10 millions now in just Pantanal. So this is one of the greatest comebacks. The reproductive cycles are really fast, and they are masters of camouflage, excellent swimmers, and surprisingly, they're pretty docile. You don't want to get close to these caimans, but they're not real. They don't display a lot of aggressive behavior to humans or to other animals. So we were able to observe anacondas. This is a yellow anaconda. They're a large semi-aquatic constrictors from South America, known for their yellow-green bodies with dark spots, giving them the great camouflage in murky waters. Anacondas are anacondas are boa species endemic to southern South America. They are the largest snakes in the world, being the green anaconda, the one from the movie, being the green anaconda, the largest of all. This one we saw is not as large as the green anaconda, but it's a pretty good size. Unlike all boas and pythons, they are non-venomous, and they kill their prey by constriction. Okay, they suffocate their prey. So, well, as Rob mentioned before, I'm an avid birder, and I like bird photography. So, and I do have a special interest on bird photography while I travel. As I mentioned before, I use photography mainly for wildlife conservation. Registered birds help to understand ecosystems' health, due to birds are important bioindicators. Birds are visible in most times, sensitive to habitat changes, pollution, and climate shifts. They act as an early warning for ecosystem stress throughout population trends and behavior, and their presence, abundance, and health reflect an overall quality of an environment, making them effective barometers to monitoring in more efficient ways what is happening on the habitats. As you remember, birds are the second most abundant group of organisms in the Pantanal with around 600 species. So Pantanal, it is really a bird paradise. It's a hotspot for birders and bird photography. They were literally all over around. We were on my trip, I was able to register 200 different species between Pantanal and surrounding areas because I have some of the forest birds as well. And well, let me show you some species that I photograph and some cool facts of them. So the jabiru, this is a great bird to see. It is the largest of all the storks in the New World. It is an unmistakable bird of American wetlands and the tallest flying bird in Central and South America. Something that jabiru does is to inflate its throat, as you can see on this photo, as a part of communication and social behavior, such as courtship, communication, aggression. But what is really cool, if you see the photo a little bit closely, you can see those veins on the throat here. So they have a biological function. They increase the lightness of the bird, so which is it brings more air into the bird, so it's a little bit lighter to fly. But also they work as a thermoregulation. So they as inflate these, they put their veins outside, closer to the air, and they can cool off a little bit much faster. So this is a great adaptation of these birds, and it's amazing to see. This is a really, really good, a really big bird to see. Other cool birds that we were able to see is sun bitterns. These are an elusive and critic forest birds known for their amazing sun wing display. As you can see on this photo, when they fly, when they open their wings, you can see this kind of sunrise or sunset design on their wings. They actually use it for display to the females, of course, and they're mainly solitary hunters using their long bills to catch fish and insects near the water. So this is a cool bird to photograph, and if you can photograph the bird in flight is when it shows the beauty of their wings. Well, another bird that I was looking forward to see for many years is this kind of heron. This is called agami heron. This is a very stunning and secretive jewel of the rainforest known as the hummingbird heron. Why it's known as a hummingbird heron is because the vibrant chestnut green and blue colors, very long and thin bill, and living in a solitary life in shady dense forests, making it very rare and difficult to spot. I was very happy to see this bird. It's not the greatest photo, but I really like this detail on the feathers. I was looking forward to see this bird for a long time, and I was able to observe in one of these locations in El Pantanal. So black skimmers, they were really cool as well. So, there are unique coastal birds famous for their knife-like lower beak and their cat-like vertical pupils to cut the glare. So these birds, they can actually, what they do is they fly low in over calm waters with their long bill, lower jaws submerged, skimming the surface until it touch a small fish or a crustacean, at which point they build reflexively snapshot to catch the prey. This is amazing to see. They just fly so cool on the surface on the water. This tactile hunting method allows them to forage even at nighttime. So this is a bird that actually fly on the surface and it catch their food even at nighttime. This is beautiful. And this is the only bird global specialized on this feeding strategy. This is the only bird that is sexually capable to do this. Well, this is a beautiful kingfishers. They were all over around. There's 5 different kinds kingfishers in El Pantanal. We saw 4 of the 5. So kingfishers are vibrant, small to medium birds known for their large head, sharp bills, and stunning structural colors. So they're expert plunge divers using a neat vision to catch the fish, insects, and small reptiles. Their aerodynamic beaks inspire bullet trains designed for better efficiency. So they they made trains inspiring on kingfishers in Japan. So this is the design of this bird is just perfect for what it does. Another birds are greater anis, who are fascinating tropical cuckoos. They have a very nesting social behavior. So that means there's a dominant pair, male and female, which they actually have the nest, but other females actually lay the eggs on the same nest. And they have a group, their group behavior, they all protect the nest because those eggs belongs to practically everybody. Vultures are large birds with a key adaptation for eating dead vertebrates. You probably know this information that vultures, they also possess an incredible strong stomach acid to kill pathogens. They can smell, they can see carrion from far away. And of course, by disposing carcasses efficiently, they control pathogens built up, recycling by vital nutrients into the soil and reduce reliance on costly emission of heavy carcass removal services. So these are a very efficient birds on any ecosystem. Well, this tiger heron photo, I really like it too. Tiger herons in general are solitary and stealthy water birds from Americas. Their name comes from the distinct dark and light tiger-like stripes and that they can see on the immature plumage, on the immature bird's plumage, especially not which also along with this plumage, they roaring calls, the box a tiger roar. So sometimes when you hear them from the distance, they sound like a roar, roar, roar. Really cool to listen to these birds. And of course, well, they feed mainly on amphibians, fish, on the wetlands banks. I like this photo because you can see the action, you can see the frog on the beak of this tiger heron. And well, I know it's not a fun photo for the frog, but it's just nice photo to see. Well, another cool bird that we watch that you're probably really familiar with is the cormorants. Cormorants are expert underwater hunters. They have a powerful legs that allows them to dive. They can even reach depths of 150 feet to chase fish. They utilize these strong hook beaks to snatch prey and swallowing them the swallow them at once. They often go the head first and allow them into the surface. So they have no waterproof feathers. Their non-waterproof feathers are an evolutionary adaptation to decrease buoyancy, allowing them to dive deeper and stay more time on the water. In some Asian cultures, cormorants are used for fishing by tying a snare near the bird's throat, allowing them to catch fish, but preventing from swallowing the large ones. So once the birds catch fish, they pull it back and they take the fish away uh, uh, from the bird, which it's kind of a they don't kill. Actually, they take care well of their cormorants because it's the way they make a living in some Asian remote areas. So Caciques, they are fascinating birds that they actually are a colonial nestings. Females build an intricate nest, hanging pouch-like nest in tall trees. Males, most of the time, they compete for their mates and they guard the colonies. That's mainly the male functions. Both sexes help raise the young through thug females go to bogs of incubation, benefiting from communal safety of their large nesting colonies. This is an amazing. How do they build these nests around the branches? And they something curious about these birds. They tend to build their nest nearby wasp or bee's nest, because they know if there's danger around, the wasp or the nest will scare these predators away. So this is a really smart bird. Well, one of the encounters I really enjoy talking about birds is these crane hawks. Crane hawks are a very unique raptors, famous for their double joint leg used to reach, for the double joint leg that they use to reach into tree cavities. I've seen this bird before. I've seen multiple times crane hawks, but this is the first time I was able to see them like hunting, like getting into the joints of this tree. They were just digging there over and over again until they successfully get a little lizard out of these joints. It was one of the encounters I enjoyed the most. I was able to photograph this raptor. I have like 100 photos of this guy only, just because they were active for a long time and they were just getting this cool behavior that they use their legs as cranes. Of course, that's where the name come from, and it was truly amazing to see. Well, toucans, as I remember, there's just one type of toucan, which is this one called toco toucan. Toucans are primary fruit eaters. They use their large, lightweight bills to pluck and manipulate fruits, often tossing their heads back to swallow them whole. But they also feed on insects, reptiles, and bird eggs. Their bills are serrated. Their bills have serrated edges to help grip food, and they hold large prey with one foot while they're feeding. So again, beautiful birds to see, flying away from one place to the other. I was able to get this photo of these toucan in flight, and I really like it. And just this last bird, this is a black hawk eagles. They're mainly solid, stealthy black tropical raptors with strings, white tails bands, known for their powerful pounce hunts through dense forests for monkeys, birds, and reptiles. They are solitary mainly. They build a large stick nest high in the trees, and they are crucial apex predators in Latin American ecosystems, despite being rarely seen. This is a bird that, again, I was looking forward to see. I'm very lucky. This is not an easy bird to see, but he was perched on a tree, he flew away, and I was able to get this photo of this very unique bird. I really like this. Is one of my favorite photos of the trip. And well, I think that's it. So thank you everyone for your time. I hope that you enjoyed this webinar and presentation and some of the photos that I was able to get here on this trip. Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Fernando. So before we dive into the question section, I would like to remind everyone that if you do have questions, you can submit them via the question field in your control panel. Just go to the three lines in the upper right-hand corner there. You click on those, it'll open up the question field for you. So go ahead and put them in there. So you showed us that the video with the picture with the jaguar. It was lying down. Was that a submissive act, or was the lion actually dead, or the jaguar rather? I'm sorry, was the jaguar being submissive, or did the jaguar actually die?
No. It was just one of the jaguars, the biggest one, approached to the sandbar where the other one was, and they start to fight a little bit, but it didn't die. They don't die. Any of the jaguars die on that video. They were just fighting a little bit, and then after 1 minute after the video, the first jaguar that came to interact with the other one just went away. So, and the other one stayed there.
Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying that. So, if a jaguar eats, if its prey is ill or sick, is there a risk to the jaguar there of getting ill?
If there's if the sorry, can
So,
you repeat the question?
sure. Is there a risk to the jaguar when they eat a prey who is sick?
Oh, that's a good question. I have no a straight answer, but normally big cats or mainly of the apex predators, they will get nothing but fresh kills. You know, their sense. I don't know if he's sick for, I don't know, a virus or something. I don't think that infection is gonna be passed to the jaguars, but they're known to eat nothing but fresh kills.
Gotcha. Thank you. So, can you talk about the differences between a jaguar and a leopard? How do you tell them apart? Um,
Okay, in this last photo, if you can still see it, so jaguars, even that they have a different colors and a different design on the coat, jaguars distinct from leopards because jaguars had rosettes on their body coat, and 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 leopards they have dots, they have circles. But if you see on the jaguar on this photo, they have more like a rings, like a rosettes. That is the right word. That's a good way to tell them apart. And the only way is if you see that in South America, it's gonna be jaguar because we have no leopards here. If you see it on Africa or other continents, there's no jaguars there, but only leopards.
Interesting. Okay. Are they related or in any way, or are they completely separate
Not
species?
that I know, is jaguars is the only member of the, what is the family of the Onca family, of the Onca group. I think it's the only one on this group. So it's Jaguarundis, the one I show after the jaguar. Jaguarundis are related to cheetahs and pumas, but they belong to a different family. So jaguars, if I remember correctly, are the only members of this family called Onca family. So they're not
Got,
related to others.
gotcha. Thank you. So, is a crocodile something a jaguar would go after? Is it strong
Yes,
enough to take one?
yes. Actually, that's it. This is, I mean, after I some of my friends, expedition leaders from Brazil, told me about this place. I was checking some videos on YouTube. You know, jaguars hunting for crocodiles. If you go on YouTube and you spell those words, you will see these guys, these jaguars, just on the banks. You know, just looking down on the water, and the water is kind of brackish water. You see nothing, but they handle to search on the surface on these banks positions, and then for no reason, you know, for no reason for us, they jump on the water, they dive in the water. When they back to the surface, they come back with a live, well, still live, a caiman in their jaws. But some of these caimans are as big as these jaguars. So it is one of the main reasons to go there and try to get these photos. So the answer is yes, they do hunt jaguars, they do hunt crocodiles or caimans. And as far as I remember, this is the only place in the world where you can observe this behavior of the jaguars hunting for caimans.
Wow, fascinating. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Um, so let's switch gears a little bit. What equipment do you use on your trips? What's your camera equipment?
Okay. I will highly recommend. Well, I have a Canon. I have a Canon gear. I travel with my 100 to 400, and you can get away with that lens. All these photos were taken with that lens, and you can get away very good too with a 150 to 600. But bigger than that, for jaguars, you don't really need to. You don't need an 800, or you don't need extenders for the photos, because sometimes it can be too much. And most of these photos that you see, they were taken from the boat. So the boat is kind of moving back and forward to get into a good position. The use of tripod is really hard, and to hold a big lens is it will be hard to do. So I will highly recommend to bring 100 to 400 lenses, or maximum 600. You can get away with a lot of these photos with one of those lenses.
Even for birding?
Well, yes, for birding, yes. All these photos were taken with a 400. So so yes, even with birding, it will be more recommended at 600. But 600 will be good for everything. But 400, these all photos were taken with the 400.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Mhm.
So what time of year is it best to visit the Pantanal, would you say?
I think on the raining season, when all the water flood these areas, and there's a lot of sorry, on the dry season, which is from June to agosto, septiembre. I think from June to October. Junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre. Yes, from June to October.
So how do you get around in the Pantanal? Is it generally by boat, or do you go by land at times as well? Is it?
Yeah, well, some of the tours I did, it was like a jeep tour. We were looking for wildlife, looking for tapirs, sorry, looking for tapirs, looking for anteaters, looking for birds. But to see the jaguars, you take a little boat. So, and you go into the boat on the different canals of El Pantanal, and just looking for these jaguars. So it is a boat trip to photograph jaguars. I forget to mention that. Sorry, it's a boat trip to photograph jaguars, and other animals I photographed, like the monkeys, for example. They were on the road.
Gotcha. Thanks. So snakes. Let's talk snakes for a second. Other than anacondas, are we going to see a lot of snakes? And do we have to worry about anacondas? Are they going to eat people?
No, they're not. No, I think they're not. You have to be by your own and find a huge anaconda to that to happen. No, I didn't see a lot of snakes, to be honest. And I think all the places we went, there's chances to see snakes, but you're always walking around on trails, and you don't go like deep into the forest, and there's gonna be snakes all over you. So I will say chances to see snake are low, but I was only able to see the anaconda 2 times, and I was only able to get that photo that I show because they were not like all over around, so they are hard to see.
Gotcha. Thank you. So when you're out there visiting the Pantanal, can you give us an idea of how we should be dressed if we're out there, in that June to September,
Yes.
October period?
Yes, it is a dry season, so it's not gonna be a lot of chances of rain. But I'm always travel with a rain jacket, mainly to protect me and my camera gear, just in case. So rain jacket. I would not recommend to go in shorts, because you spend a lot of time on the boat, and even that they can put a canopy on the boat. Most of the time, this canopy is not put there, because you want to have the freedom to see, or the wider view. So long pants, long sleeve shirts, baseball cap, of course, your binoculars, your camera gear. No flip flops either. So bring like a sneakers, for example. just because you might be a lot of time under the sun looking for this wildlife, and sooner or later they will put the canopy, but that limit your vision of the wildlife. So I would recommend to go travel with a lot of clothes that protect you from the sun, and maybe a rain jacket just for the rain, just in case, because you never know.
One thing people are asking about is insects and bugs. Are those something we're going to have to worry about? Should we protect against those in some different way?
Actually, bring a bug spray, but I have to be honest, I didn't see or feel any mosquito bite through all days I was there. So there was no mosquitoes. Maybe I was there in October. So maybe before October there's gonna be more mosquitoes. I'm not sure about it. I will always travel with, actually, in some places I go birding that I know there's gonna be a lot of mosquitoes. I travel with my net cover, with a head net cover. Just it doesn't take room on your backpack, and I even have some gloves. Sometimes, because when you're taking photos, if you have mosquitoes, they will bother on your hands. So I will even bring some like a surgeon gloves on my camera gear. So surgeon gloves, net cover, just in case. My experience, no mosquitoes. Not even on the jeep tours in the daytime. There was no insects that bother you like mosquitoes.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for letting us know that. So let me ask you this. What is the difference between a regular trip and a photo-based trip for NatHab? Can you tell us?
Yes, well, I have no experience on the Pantanal photo trips or regular trips, but in other photo trips like Galapagos, like monarch butterflies, well, we there's some changes on the itinerary in some of the photo trips. I am not sure on this Pantanal trip if there's an extra day or you go somewhere else, but basically we spend more time in the field photographing wildlife. So this is the priority, is to, if we have something that is happening, we just stay there because it is something that is not going to happen again, and we just dedicate the time to photograph. Other advantage of photo trips, of course, the expedition leader is expert on photography, so they go away with some tips about photography, getting into the best light, maybe earlier departures to get first on the place and get the best light. There will be some tips and information about photography, and also some information about post production on your photos. So with the monarch butterflies and other trips, we have a little change on the itineraries to dedicate more time into photography information and process of your images after the trip.
Great. Thanks for explaining that to us, Fernando. Unfortunately, that's going to be the last question that we do have time for today. So I'm
Okay.
going to hand it back to you for your closing comments.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I just had to say that it was a great experience. El Pantanal, the wildlife, but I'm also like to bring out the aspect of the people around. They were all nice. The food was excellent. I have to say, I really liked the food in these areas, and the whole trip is something, is an unforgettable experience. Of course, wildlife is the highlight of this trip, but honestly, the people and the food and all the places in the hotels, they were fantastic. Thank you everyone for your time and to be here today.
And Fernando, thank you for taking the time to present for us today. And I'd also like to thank everyone who tuned in today. So if you are interested in information on how you can travel to the Pantanal with NatHab, please give us a call at 800-543-8917, or you could send us an email at info@nathab.com. Our adventure specialists are happy to help you out. And if you're part of a photo club and would like NatHab to speak to your members about nature and travel photography, email us here at webinars@nathab.com. Join us Monday for our next daily dose of nature. You can check out next week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on the website soon. With that, I will conclude today's webinar. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time.